What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of B is for Build. In today's episode, we got the Velocity Stacks. They are in, so we're gonna test fit them on the car and make the engine look awesome. And then we're gonna continue working so we can make the engine run awesome. We're gonna work on our radiator support, strut support bar, and other things that just get us closer to the engine running for a long period of time. Stay tuned. Before we get started, I want to take a second out to thank our sponsor. This episode is sponsored by ECS Tuning. One second. These guys, you guys know I mentioned a while ago that ECS Tuning and I have partnered up for this build. They've been supplying us with all the BMW parts that we need for the drivetrain side of this build, and they've been coming in clutch, like so helpful, making sure we have everything that we need on time to hit the next part of our build and try and hit our goals. So they just shipped me out a full oil change kit and the new spark plugs and ignition coils that we need, because remember I stole an ignition coil for Chelsea's car. So now we got 10 brand new spark plugs and ignition coils for the engine that you're gonna see us install today. And they're just making sure that we have everything that we need so we can carry on with our build. So I highly recommend for your build that you check out their website, ecstuning.com. I'll put a link in the description. Go there, check it out, browse around. If you have a European car, they have all sorts of great parts, service kits, anything that you need, they got you covered. Head on over there. All right, now let's get down to work. I want to show you what Eric's doing over here. Okay, so what Eric was just doing there is finishing up all the welding around the, I mean, kind of call it a bracket or whatever, the mounting point for our strut support radiator mount. And so the next thing that he's gonna go ahead and do is drill out and drill out over here, and then drill out of the strut tower as well. And then we're going to make room for a flush mounted nut that we're gonna weld in to the strut tower rail right here that this will bolt into. So while Eric is doing that, I'm gonna go ahead and pull out all of our spark plugs and replace all the spark plugs and ignition coils on the engine. All right, so Eric's got all the holes drilled out of our strut support, as well as he's got the beginnings of the holes for the frame rail. And so he's gonna go ahead and weld in that nut right into the hole right there. And then when we take out the bolt, we'll put the bolt through that piece right there. It'll go through and into the nut that's welded into there and mount our strut bar in there. We wanted to do studs coming out of here, but if we do studs coming out of here, it's gonna make it really hard to place the strut bar in and on the studs and then put nuts on top of it. So we're doing it backwards. It's gonna look really clean. And I'm still working on spark plugs and ignition coils. Strut support bar is done. Eric knocked it out of the park with this thing. It looks fantastic. It's super strong. You can move the whole car back and forth by yanking on it. It looks fantastic. I'm so glad that we went with this rather than some sort of straight across thing, because it just it's much more organic with the tube frame chassis that we made. It looks great. It's really cool because it accentuates the fact that our engine is off to the side a little bit, which I think is pretty unique about this car. I think it's a really cool part of it. So overall, it looks fantastic. Now it needs to do one more job though, which is hold the radiator. So you can see that the radiator really tucks nicely. That groove that I was talking about earlier tucks super nicely inside that bar, but it needs to come out and come into those little holes right there to hold our radiator in place. So Eric's gonna work on doing that. Man, we might need to test this out a little bit because I'm not sure Yeah, that'll work. Okay, anyways, so Eric's gonna work on doing that. While he was doing that, I did all of our new spark plugs and ignition coils all the way around. Those were all provided by ECS Tuning, so thanks to them for that. And the next thing I'm gonna do is really quickly install our Velocity Stacks that we got for our ITBs. So I told you guys we are gonna be running these open, so that means no air plenum, no air box. We have to do MAF deletes on this car and some other crazy stuff to get it to run well. But we're ready to do it, and to make it look awesome, you get Velocity Stacks. So 2M Autowerks made us up some Velocity Stacks, and I'll throw them on there and show you guys. Isn't that just the best thing you've ever seen on a V10? It looks so pretty. This is gonna flow so nicely. The hood has like that little raised part that goes right across there. Once we take the hood off this car, it's gonna just, it's awesome. It's so awesome. This looks so good. And these things sound amazing. Amazing, amazing. I cannot wait to get this engine running so we can hear how this is all gonna sound with our own exhaust on here and with these things on here. It's gonna be insane. So as far as the software, like the car is gonna be upset that we don't have the plenums because it's not filtering the air through the MAFs. So we're gonna get rid of the MAFs. Only problem with that is that inside the MAFs, one of these is an ambient air temperature sensor. So we have a relocation kit coming from ECS Tuning. We're gonna relocate the ambient air temperature sensor. And there's a rumor out there that if you just pull both the MAFs off and do that, the car will run and it won't be in limp mode and it will actually run a MAFless map. I'm not sure if that'll really happen, but we can find out very, very soon if that's actually gonna work. But we also have tuners that we're working with. We got Norwegian Eric on our side. We have a lot of options. It's just how much time do we have to get something awesome before SEMA. In limp mode, this car still revs up to like 3,500 RPMs and it'll still be awesome, but I'm gonna try and do everything I can in my power to not bring this car to SEMA in limp mode. That would be, I mean, it's a step up from not running at all, which a lot of people are going to bring cars, Rob Dom, like that to SEMA. But, you know, we got it running. So so now we want to get it, you know, running properly. And I think we can do that in the amount of time that we have, which is like 4 days. No joke. So anyways, it looks beautiful, but we should carry on. We are going to clean the rest of the engine. That is one of Chelsea's projects for the next few days is whenever she can come out is to help us clean up the engine. We'll paint the covers, clean all the black stuff up, everything, and get it looking fresh. As far as some of the hoses and stuff that people are like probably wondering about, like these aren't vacuum. You can leave these open. There's 2 more of those that you can leave open. Some of those we're going to route down outside the car. So we've got a plan for all of them except for this thing. I need to go home and look at Chelsea's car and see what this used to go to. I cannot remember. It routes around back and it goes to 2 hoses in there that also go to somewhere that these go to, but I don't know. There's not a lot of documentation about those little hoses. I know that one did not go to the plenum though because there's no hole on it. So anyways, that is awesome. Eric's working on building the posts. He's gonna cut out pieces of steel that are gonna come off of here and then a post is gonna go down into the radiator. And I am gonna look at mounting the, this is the vacuum assist for the brake booster. It looks a little crazy right now. I'll clean it up a little bit and we're gonna simplify it a little bit, but basically what this thing does is it senses the amount of vacuum that the engine is giving it through that hose right there. And if it doesn't give it enough, the vacuum, this vacuum pump will kick on and then it will add more vacuum to the brake boost so you can stop this massive 5,000 pound M5. We really don't need this, but the car will probably be really pissed without it, so I think we should have it. Well, also, I'm not 100% sure if we don't need it. Anyways, carrying on. Eric has tacked up the mounts for the radiator, so you can see how there's posts coming off of there, and then you can see from the top they look pretty good. I like from the front too that they're kind of hidden also, so that's awesome. So he's going to TIG weld these so they look really pretty. And then over here, what I've done is this is the vacuum boost assist, and I built a little bracket that bolts into this, and it's going to go right here. So I'm going to go ahead and weld that in right here, and then we can bolt the vacuum boost assist there, and it will lead into there and into the engine right there. All right, so Eric finished up welding these tabs that hold the top of our radiator, and they look fantastic. You see Eric's handiwork. I don't know what happened there. There must have been some contaminants. But you can see how good that one looks. And then what I did was I welded that tab down here. Just welded that tab onto the frame so then we could bolt up the brake boost assist. And the hoses are ran, so this goes into here. I'm trying not to mess with these too much because they're plastic, so they have a pretty strong wall. Brake boost lines sometimes do that, so because if you use rubber, it pulls too much vacuum, it could collapse the line. So we don't want to have that happen. So anyways, that line is running here. This line has a one-way valve in it right here, so we're going to have to go ahead and after this, we're going to cut this and we're going to run up to the engine where it pulls vacuum. Normally, that will stop our vacuum leaks, so the next time that we start the car. Now that we have all of our ignition coil packs, we will not have a misfire, and then we won't be having a vacuum leak anymore. And then once I figure out what this is and how to deal with this could also be pulling vacuum. I'm not quite sure. I doubt it is though. So probably, most likely, once we plug that, no more vacuum leaks. The engine should be running much better than it did before, much less rumbly. So just to test out our radiator theory and stuff like that, I'm gonna go ahead and do a quick radiator reinstall. There we go, radiator's back in. So it was a bit of a learning process for me to figure out how to, you know, kind of install a thing with one person. But once I figured it out, it's awesome. So it's on all rubber bushings. The top mounts go into rubber bushings that are inside this plastic thing, which I'm working on ordering a new one of these because I do want to keep this front lip. It's going to do really good stuff for the air, to funnel the air into the radiator. And then on the bottom, it's utilizing the plastic rubber things that I've showed you a million times. So it's really nicely on there. It can absorb vibration and absorb shake. It's not coming out of the car. I'm really happy with the way that ended up. I know it looks a little funny with the cardboard on there, but that's to stop from accidentally damaging any fins, which we have been known to do around here. So I'm going to leave that on probably until we drive it around, probably until I absolutely have to take it off. So back here, we still need to mount our filter, and then up front, we're going to have to mount power steering cooler and oil cooler are both going to go up front here. But we're getting it done. We're definitely getting through it. We're getting so close. So I've been thinking about the schedule a lot lately. As of today, we have 6 more days to finish the powertrain, the drivetrain part of this car. And we've gone a long ways in the last 6 days. So I think if we keep to it at the same pace and we don't get stuck doing too much stuff around tuning and other stuff like that, like, I think we're gonna be able to do it. We're not too far off. We gotta get the power steering line done. We gotta get the steering finished, and then we gotta run brakes. And there's a lot of odds and ends in between those two things, and we got to build exhaust. But we're not too far off. It's pretty cool. I'm very excited. Well, we need a transmission tunnel. That would be good to have. Floorboards, you know, whatever. Small things. We may be at SEMA with no floor. That might be a thing, but that will be weight reduction. Tonight's one of those nights where I don't even want to leave the shop. I just want to keep working as long as I can, but I know if I'll do that, I'll just be tired tomorrow. So that's where I'm going to wrap this up. And I do want to say that we got new merchandise in the shop. I mean, it's relatively new. It's only been out for about a week. There's a flag behind me if you haven't seen that, and some other good stuff, some shirts. Not this one. This one's a one of a kind. But anyways, hit the shop, bsforbuild.com. Check that out there. If you want to play a new game and you want it for free, you know, check out our game, DS for Drift. The link is in the description. And also ECS Tuning, their link is in the description. So smash that link, check out their stuff too. That's it, guys. I'm going to see you tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow. Please remember to like and subscribe. Peace!